The only 3 moves to make your back ironclad and pain-free are easy to start, but the honest truth that you probably don't want to hear yet need to know is that the common methods most people use don't work. It's going to take a mindset shift and a training shift. These are what worked for me, and I've been through a ton. And for our 5,000 plus students at Pacific Rim Athletics at this point. Deadlifts, squats, bent over rows, and yoga will not make your back strong, and neither will they fix back pain. However, this first move will without a doubt. Back strength is not about size, a V shape, or powerlifting numbers, and back pain is multifaceted. It can stem from biomechanical breakdown, such as bone sitting on a nerve, muscle tightness that pushes anatomy, de-optimized alignment, swelling, etc., etc., etc. Often, people will sit on it for months that grow into decades, not changing their lifestyle behaviors that are contributing to this situation. The myth is that people are old, but that's not true. Back strength and decreased pain plus optimal athleticism is actually the conjunction between posterior chain strength plus spine mobility plus core strength, and we'll discuss each in detail. It is difficult to measure, but the most demonstrable feat of a powerful back I can think of is an explosive compound twisting movement with impact that has dynamic and ballistic properties. Here's a couple examples. Picking someone up at weird angles into a takedown which twists and hits the ground, like some of these wrestling examples. Likewise, picking up bales of hay, barrels, or weird objects and throwing them. Doing air flares, tumbling, and back walkovers. I hope you can see it's not about a single one-dimensional lift that adequately measures back strength. It's about versatility. The way this is achieved is through the 3 aforementioned elements. The first being posterior chain strength, which runs all the way from the base of your head to the Achilles in your legs, including your back. People rupture tendons in their legs and arms doing back exercises because that's their weak link in the posterior chain. So we don't compartmentalize back strength like that. Here's an example move for posterior chain. The posterior chain is designed to go into extension, meaning arching. So, Superman rocks. Hold for 100 seconds without moving. This technique/shape applies to everything from a back handspring in midair to a sprawl in wrestling to the first basic shape in skydiving to getting up off the floor to walk. It's the first position a baby goes in when learning to crawl. Here's what people always miss on this. Arms on your ears. Even if you can't literally touch your arms to your ears, that should be the goal. The thing about bodyweight strength and skill is that there are 1,000 ways to cheat, and your body will try to find the easy way out every time. Machines and weights are far easier. CrossFit just allows cheating. But here, try to touch your arms to your ears. This engages your traps, rear delts, and thoracic section of your spine. Most often, people will immediately drop their head so they can touch their arms to their ears. But you should ideally be looking at the ceiling, training your neck too. The only thing that should be touching the floor is your stomach and pelvis. This means your lower back has to engage, plus your glutes. And here's another area where people cheat. Your legs are probably out wide. Put your feet together, and if your feet are actually touching, pinch your ankles together too. See what I mean about all these weak links being exposed? Now, lock your elbows, straighten your knees, point your fingers, and point your feet. Now you're actually training. 100 seconds, don't stop. Want to go further? Add weight, and then add rocking. Add different angles, like hanging Supermans, and movement like hip hinging. This posterior chain strength progresses all the way to back levers like Venny is showing in his 50s, and full-length ninja strength katas. Bridges and back walkovers like Stephanie in her late 40s, and back handsprings like Drea is doing with her son Cooper. Demonstrable athletic strength of the back that is ironclad and pain-free. Just don't mistake videos for instruction, okay? We can't guarantee many things in life, but we can guarantee you'll get injured, stuck, and frustrated watching videos and doing it yourself, because everybody is unique and at different points in their journey. Now, spine mobility. People spasm their back because of lack of mobility, and this could take weeks or months to heal. As I said, the posterior chain is meant to go into extension, but also flexion, which means forward, like a body roll. And unlike a deadlift or squat, these movements happen at weird angles, off balance, and with speed in real life. People will leave comments saying, "You're wrong, a deadlift does occur in real life." Like when I was loading my Dutch oven into the stove and I was, number one, show a video. Number 2, that's just a great example of points flying over people's heads like airplanes. There's a 3-foot door to your oven causing leaning and being off balance. There's rounding of the back to carry the Dutch oven. I mean, think of lifting furniture, grappling, lifting your own kids and throwing them up in the air. I cannot think of anything in the past 6 months that I lifted like a deadlift, with the object resting directly on my shins, completely centered under my own center of gravity, hands in an over-under grip, back completely neutral, with a bar and the weight distributed evenly and symmetrically on the right and left of my body. But I've dragged heavy bags through airports. I've helped carry, load, and assemble big pieces of equipment, carried ladders around and installed new gear. All of that is what requires back mobility, which is a combination of athletic strength and flexibility. In fact, I only got hurt once or twice doing deadlifts, same for squats, and up to 2.5 times body weight as well. The problems arose primarily from too much sitting, from dynamic moves and impacts, and a few times from those heavy lifts. But it became severe in instances like emptying the trash or stepping upstairs while not doing the training I'm talking about in this video. So it's about versatile athletic mobility. Not just strength and flexibility built in a controlled environment, but athletic mobility from all angles. This includes the body roll, even with weights. It also includes side bending like this, which progresses all the way to human flags, angled bending, twisting, rotating. So you can easily just simulate these movements as part of your training. And then add weights. This kind of strength is most obvious when it transfers into the twisting and arching in an aerial spinning handstand, for example, or the landing from a backflip at 3 to 4 times body weight at high impact on the ground. People will say it's dangerous and yada yada yada. In reality, it's simply the byproduct of holistic, well-rounded strength that has resolved all of your weak links, reduced inflammation, and provided a solid foundation of athletic mobility that far outweighs any one-dimensional lift. Whether you're doing body rolls like Kelly or Stu here, all the way to human flags like Coach Darren, or an air flare to slant gainer or dyna combo like me, you can build ironclad, pain-free back strength just by starting with these super simple steps. It doesn't need to be rocket science, just sets of 5, 10, maybe up to 20. The higher volume builds more of a foundation, and more advanced moves might need to be scaled down to singles. For example, someone in pretty rough shape might be doing singles of just a body roll with very low weight, if any. A more advanced person might be doing 20 attempts of a power moves kata with insane levels of mobility in the skills section of training. I've made videos about how to structure your training on this channel, but the moves you select and the reps you do, it all depends on the person. And core strength. Without the core, the back is meaningless. In fact, the back is just an extension of the core. It's the reverse side of it, the other side of the coin, so to speak. The flare I just mentioned. Without a strong back, in conjunction with a strong core, a flare is simply impossible. Plus, you need hip mobility and strength through your lower core, so something underdeveloped in most people. And that leads to back pain. Even a person with a huge deadlift or squat or bent over row is going to be running into issues. Flares can also be done in suspension. I have a whole video about suspension training on this channel, and sometimes people will say that hanging helped resolve back pain. It's just traction. Either way, the core needs to be strong enough to support the body in hanging, in pushing, or during impact. You can't live life in bubble wrap. Impacts will happen. A strong core not only allows you to be active, it supports your back and adds to overall holistic strength. How do you build a strong core that wraps all the way around to your back? Well, what do you think? A V-stand, hanging wipers, or an inverted stretch on the stall bars? Trick question, all three. This would actually be an insane strength training circuit for your core, spine mobility, and strength. The V-stand trains your entire core and simultaneously your lower back and hamstring mobility, even if you're starting on chairs to do it. The hanging wipers passes through that same V position for your back and hamstring mobility, but incorporates the twisting. And the inverted stretch on stall bars adds traction for the lower back, and it builds hamstring flexibility and strength. It's very close to actually how a deadlift feels, but in all honesty, way better for you. You don't need to do it upside down. You can do it right side up, and you can find simple things to do it on. You don't need a big fancy piece of equipment. Eventually, things like this evolve into handstand katas or power move katas. that are merely the byproducts of ironclad, pain-free back strength. But what's more is holistic, athletic, total body mastery, which is far, far, far more important than the pseudo-strength of big muscles or slapping more plates on the bar. Ultimately, you're the only limiting factor to your strength. What you believe, limiting thoughts, fears, or your positive mindset, your goals, your happiness, and what you bring to your life and those around you. Those are in every way, shape, and form the true foundation for strength. And you'll see progress much faster in that state of mind. So, what's next? Maybe you're a complete beginner, advanced, or you're already a student. Subscribe as well as fill out the form to connect with us, because you more than likely have questions. And it's totally free. Plus, you'll get secret videos, student journey stories, competitions with cash prizes, travel, retreats, workshops, and more. See you in the next video and in training soon.